right, here we go again. Question from Benjamin today. When I snatch lighter weights, I'm catching it high and riding it into the bottom of the squat. When it's heavy, that obviously doesn't happen. Should I be varying how much effort I put into the first phase of the lift so I catch at the same height regardless of weight? Or should I give full effort on every lift and just fixate the bar at whatever height it ends up whatever height it ends up at? I've heard conflicting advice on this. Thanks. Two things. Basically what you're doing is correct, right? You are pulling the bar and you are meeting it at whatever height you elevate it to, right? If you pull the bar to here, you can't drop to here because it's going to crash on you. A little less of a problem in the snatch than the clean because you're more connected to the bar, but you can have bars crash on you in a snatch. A lot of the soft shoulders and squishy elbows that you see is from this exact issue, right? People trying to dive into the very bottom of a squat regardless of where they've elevated the bar to. So that's number one. You always want to meet the bar wherever you've elevated it to. Two is with very light weights or with in a warm up or with very light technical lifts, you do have to kind of temper the amount of force you're putting into that first and second pull, because if that weight is so far below what you're capable of lifting, a max effort is going to throw that thing through the ceiling, and not only will you end up receiving it really high, you're probably going to blow past those really important positions like, say, lower to mid thigh where you're supposed to be initiating the second pull. So you do have to control it to make sure that you hit proper positions, have really good balance, and actually what you're trying to do is essentially mimic the rhythm of a heavier lift, right? So in a really heavy snatch, that first pull is going to be relatively slow. Not slow necessarily, but relatively slow when compared to the second pull, right? That will always be faster regardless of how you're built or what your strengths are, or how fast you're trying to make the first pull. So you're trying to basically replicate that in practice with lighter weights. You always want to pull under the bar with maximal effort though, and this gets very confusing for people because they consider pulling under the bar as hard as possible. They think that means that you will receive the bar lower, but is the opposite. If you elevate the bar to here and you pull under as fast as you can, that means that bar is going to have less time to stop rising and start falling. And you will get under it faster, which means you and the bar will be in a higher position when you lock it out, right? If you are slower and less aggressive in that pull under, that means you and the bar are going to be coming down farther before you finally fix it overhead. So a maximal effort pull under the bar turnover is going to make you receive the bar higher. So we always want to do that. You're going to control the speed of your first pull, probably control the effort in your second pull a little bit with really light weights, but you will always change directions and pull under as hard as you can. And that means that you're still going to have a gradient, right? With really light weights, you're still going to receive them relatively high and sit in. But that's what we want, because what we're trying to do is make the mechanics of that turnover be identical regardless of the weight. And what that means is that we are pulling ourselves under the bar, meeting the bar. We are not just squatting down or dropping down, I hate that term, indiscriminately into a low squat. Okay, so learn to control the speed of the first pull, control the force of the second pull as needed to get a reasonably low receiving position. You don't want to be snatching your 50% in a high power snatch, right? You do want to be snatching it, but you're still probably going to technically lock it out a little bit above parallel and sit in. And as your weights get heavier, it's going to be lower and lower and lower. But what's never going to change is how quickly you turn the bar over and how you immediately fix it in that really tight, aggressive overhead position. There's never any crashing. There's never any, your shoulders sagging and absorbing that weight. So that's what you're trying to make identical in every single lift.
Greg Everett with Catalyst Athletics here. Please subscribe, like, and share this video. If you have questions, post them in the comments. I answer all of them. Also check out catalystathletics.com for the biggest Olympic weightlifting exercise library out there, along with hundreds of free articles and videos and other resources for both athletes and coaches.